What's going on, everyone? How you doing today? It's Angry Roleplay, and today I want to show you the old build, which is Azz EP Cold Explosion build, and it has made a slight return for the upcoming patch, simply for the reason that the 6-piece set has been buffed and the 4-piece set has been buffed, as well as the Feast of Azz has been buffed as well. And another thing that have changed for the whole setup is the Binding of the Lost, the belt that gave us the damage reduction for up to 3.5% now gives a damage reduction for each hit up to 5%, and overall it gives us around 20% more damage reduction. This looks good, but unfortunately the damage reduction is still pretty shitty, so we have to stack a lot of toughness because the set itself has absolutely no damage reduction on itself. This is one of the last sets in the game that have absolutely no damage reduction actually. I cleared Great Rift 95 in around, I think, 10 or 12 minutes. And the build definitely has the firepower to clear Great Rift 100, and hundreds have been cleared on PTR with the higher paragons and the better gear than me actually. I also made attempts at 100, but unfortunately my gear is very lacking. Like, this is complete shit. A lot of non-ancient stuff here, a lot of non-ancient, so I'm missing quite just a bit of firepower for the 100, but my attempt was pretty solid and I was pretty close, but still it was not that good for me because I'm just lacking firepower for the 100. But the build already cleared hundreds. It is safe to assume that it can clear 100 for sure. What about the build itself? It's Uliana's 6-piece without the Ring of Royal Grandeur. The chest, the helm is Dex, hit chance, exploding palm damage. Chest is Dex with life. This is basically just CDR and area damage. So Dex, Vet, area damage, and CDR. We need as much CDR as possible. Uliana's show gloves as well. Dex, Vet, hit damage chance, and CDR. CDR will be very good, or area damage, of course. Basically, we need to prioritize two things: CDR to reach as much CDR as possible for the CDR based 7-sided strike, and area damage just for the so that it will explode more trash around elite mobs and do more damage to the elite mobs. The pants are basically Dex, Vita, All-Res or Regen. The boots are Dex, Vita, All-Res and exploding palm damage. The two weapons that we have are the Lion's Claw, and basically this is why we get 14 stacks of the damage reduction on the Bindings of the Lost, and our 7-sided strike perform 14 hits. The Feast of Azz has been buffed and now comes with up to 500% exploding palms on death explosion damage, and the roll should be just Dex, CDR and area damage here, and the same on the Lion's Claw, Dex, CDR and area damage here. The braces are the same, is Gang the gear, cold, Dex fit and hit chance. Mine is really shitty. As for the rings and the amulets, there's two ways to play this build, and I'm using the old version of the build and it's still very solid. It does a little less damage than the couple of versions that were on PTR, but it's much more safety. And this is the old school version. It uses the Traveler Splash and the Endless Walk set, Convention of the Elements and Unity in the cube. And the stats should be cold, hit damage and chance, Convention of the Elements, hit damage, hit chance, CDR, and Compass Rose basically just, Dex, hit damage, hit chance, and CDR if you have it. And the cube is Flow of Eternity to increase the damage of 7-sided strike and greatly reduce the cooldown. Here is another change. Instead of Leverbra's Soliloquy, we are using Spirit Guards, and because Spirit Guards have been buffed as well, it now gives up to 60% damage taken reduction for 3 seconds. And since we always use the generator here, it is basically increased by around 20%, like 10 to 20%, and it's very good. This basically, Leverbra's Soliloquy gives us around 40% damage reduction, and Spirit Guards now give 60, so this 20 plus damage reduction. 20 plus here and 20 plus here, so it's 40% more damage reduction, which is important because the build is now stronger. It now does more damage, and we simply need to withstand all this incoming damage from the monsters. And unity in the cube is the same shit as before. For the skills, we have the 100 Fist Assimilation to stack more damage. On the right button, I use Epiphany Desert Shroud. This is pretty mandatory for the Spirit region as well as damage reduction. You can try to fit Serenity Ascension here, but you know, Spirit Generation, I think it's pretty good, but it's almost the same shit. Like if you're not using Cyclone Strike like me, yeah. So if you're not using Cyclone Strike, you can try to put Ascension here. Serenity Ascension is also another very good option. It will make you extremely tanky here as well. On the first button, 7-sided strike, sustain attack. This is what kicks our EPs. Additional strike, blinding speed for the dodge chance and mobility. Exploding palm, pending doom, they called the maximum damage rune here. Mantra of Salvation, Agility. Now this is a change, and I like to thank Matt Tom for this kind of suggestion. You know, I really wanted to always wanted to drop Cyclone Strike, because Cyclone Strike basically sucks a lot of your spirit, and with the way of 100 Fist would not really generate a lot of spirit, simply because we didn't really stack attack speed in our build like the Lashing Tail King Monk and shit. That's why basically it's kind of a bit of a waste, and let's just density follow you, and let's just elites follow you. It can be a bit of annoying at first, but then you realize that Cyclone Strike is not really important, especially when we have our Spirit Guards in the cube and not Levebrus Soliloquy here. So Mantra of Salvation Agility is a very, very solid choice here. And like I said, you can also use Serenity Ascension here instead as a second damage reduction option. It's very good. For the passive are all the same: Beacon of Ether, Mythic Rhythm, Harmony, and I also decided to use Guardian's Path since we're dual wielding here as well. Another good option here is, of course, let me check, I forgot. You know, Momentum is pretty good, of course, and just be sure to use the Beacon of Ether always here. It's very, very important. And you know, in the past we also used near-death experience, and actually another setup which can use an extra passive is you can use Focus and Restrain with CDR. If you have a very good Hellfire Amulet, you can use Hellfire Amulet, and this way you will basically use the generator, and you will have to use EP as well a lot. This way you will do 25% more damage with the Focus and Restrain, but will have a lot or less damage reduction, and simply because, you know, when we move, Endless Walk set gives us a 50% damage reduction as well. This setup right here with Unity, Endless Walk, and all these passives and runes, it's very, very tanky, and I really prefer it over the Focus and Restrain setup. I tried playing with the Focus and Restrain, and unfortunately it's just very squishy. I died all the time. I became frustrated as fuck, honestly, and I immediately switched to the old setup, and it was like a fucking breeze. I just flowed through 95, and I even almost made it to the 100 with this old setup. So this is it. Like I said, if you're feeling like you need the native experience, use it instead of the Harmony or the Guardian's Path. Or you can actually drop Mythic Rhythm as well. You know, important thing to remember about the area damage, Mythic Rhythm, and Exploding Palm is that for Mythic Rhythm to work, you need to manually apply your EPs with this. And also the same is valid for the area damage. The only way the area damage will proc is through manually applied EPs as well. So be sure to apply this manually EPs on top of the heads of the enemies, and especially the elites and the trash and everything else. And that's why we have the generator here as well. It's pretty important. So like I said, the build is quite powerful, and I think it's on par with the Inner CP now, since, you know, Inner EP was kind of the king of EP in the previous couple of seasons, because Inner was the king in season 6. but then it was quickly suppressed by the other builds. But now Ina might be a return, and even though, you know, it's the build is not for everyone, it's still pretty squishy, it's pretty annoying. You need to get the density. There's no way you can kill elites without density. It's pretty annoying build. But you know, there are plenty of fans of the Uliana of the Uliana explosion palm builds, and I'm kind of one of the fans of exploding palm as well. So thanks for watching and see you soon. And as you can see, the gems are Bane of the Trap, Stricken, and Gagak. That's the only gems you will need for this build. Thanks guys, see you soon.